You are listening to the Cricket Corner podcast with me, Vatsal Vora. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cricket Corner podcast, where today we are having an end of the series report card for Team India following their 4-1 series win over England. Basically what we will do is we'll give each Indian player a rating out of 10. But before we do that, we'll quickly recap the fifth and final test match in Dharamshala in a short and compressed manner. And then we'll follow it up with the ratings out of 10 to each and every Indian player who has taken part in this series. And we'll end this podcast by talking about some good performances from the England side of things as well, before wrapping up by talking about the Indian Premier League, which is just on the horizon. So without wasting much time, let's quickly get into recapping the fifth and final test match, which was played in Dharamshala. The test match ending after just 3 days, and India winning the test match by an innings and 64 runs on that occasion. The England captain Ben Stokes won the toss and decided to bat first, but they could only post 218 in their first innings, which meant that they were only going to chase the game from that point in time, because it looked like a really good batting pitch. It was just the sheer quality of the Indian spinners which made sure that England could only post a very modest total. And in reply, India just had to bat once. They posted a mammoth 477 runs, which made sure that England have a deficit of around 250 odd runs, and they have to first make sure that the deficit is come down to zero, and then they had to start taking the lead. But it was a task too big in front of the English batsmen. They could only manage 195 runs in their second innings, which meant that India did secure an innings victory, winning by an innings and 64 runs. When a team wins by an innings, you can safely assume that the bowlers and the batsmen have contributed in equal proportion. Firstly, the bowlers, because they were able to dismiss and get the 20 overs well before the opposition could reach the first innings total for your side. And secondly, the batsmen, who made sure that the only time their side had to bat, they were able to post a mammoth total. So that is the case as far as Team India are concerned. Their batsmen were outstanding. Their bowlers were pretty much sheer perfect as far as the fifth and final test match is concerned. And you can see I'm really happy with how Team India went ahead and won the final test match. So let's start by talking about the Indian bowling in this Dharamshala test match, and the credit has to go to the spinners. As I mentioned earlier in this podcast, we had Ravichandran Ashwin playing in his 100th test match, getting a 9-wicket haul, 4 wickets in the first innings and 5 wickets in the second innings. Kuldeep Yadav, who was given the man of the match, picked up 7 wickets in the test match, 5 in the first innings and 2 in the second innings, but he also contributed 30 very crucial runs with the bat. He along with I guess it was Jasprit Bumrah who forged a partnership of 49 runs, which made sure that the Indian total in the first innings went past 450, and that made sure that England have a very big deficit to cut back on, and something that they never really did. So those were the two standout bowling performances as far as India are concerned. But as I've mentioned, when there is an innings victory, there's always the batsmen who have done a really good job. And for India, there were 5 of them. Each of India's top 5 managed to get a score above 50 plus. It all started by Yashasvi Jaiswal, who has had an outstanding series, and you will quickly see what rating I've given him out of 10. Spoiler alert, I think he's not going to miss out on any rating over there. But 57 of 58 deliveries to kickstart the Indian innings, and then came the 2 centurions in the form of captain Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill. Rohit Sharma scoring 103 runs while Shubman Gill adding 110. Devdutt Padikkal was given a test match debut. He replaced the injured Rajat Patidar and he scored 65 runs of 103 deliveries. Sarfaraz Khan, who has taken test cricket like a duck to water, once again yet another half century to his name. He scored 56, and like I mentioned, a crucial 49-run partnership towards the end. Kuldeep Yadav scoring 30 and Jasprit Bumrah scoring 20 runs to make sure that England were always chasing the game. India posting 477 runs. In reply, when England came out to bat, they could only master 195 runs and they suffered a series defeat by losing the final test match by an innings and 64 runs. So yeah, India have clinched the series 4-1. A remarkable turnaround from Rohit Sharma and his inexperienced side after losing the first test match in Hyderabad. It was a really surprising defeat because it was a game which India could have won if they had played a little bit better and could have just secured a 5-0 series win. But we are not into ifs, ands and buts. It is what it is in the end. England did win that first test match in Hyderabad, but to have the character and to win the remaining 4 test matches in Visakhapatnam, Rajkot, Ranchi and now in Dharamshala shows, first of all, how well Rohit Sharma has captained in this series, and secondly, how deep there is, how the strength and depth basically of Team India, that they can still pull out such a remarkable series win despite not having the likes of Shami and Rishabh Pant, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul and sorts. So congratulations to Team India for winning the series 4-1, and now we'll quickly jump into the player ratings for this particular series. So now let's give each and every Indian player a rating out of 10 for their performance in this series against England. I have a big Excel sheet open right in front of me where I have each player's statistics from this series, and we'll give them a rating out of 10 based on how well or how badly they have played. As far as India are concerned, they used 18 players in this test series against England. 8 of them were what you can call bit part players who didn't play majority of the matches, while 10 players did play more than 3 test matches out of a series which had 5 test matches in it. So we'll start by talking about the batsmen, we'll talk about the all-rounders, and then we will talk about the bowlers as well. So stay tuned and let's get going. So we'll start by talking about the player of the series, and that is Yashasvi Jaiswal. What an outstanding breakout series as far as Yashasvi Jaiswal is concerned. He scored 712 runs from 5 test matches, 2 double hundreds along the way, highest score of 214 not out in Rajkot. Player of the series, only the second player in Indian Test history to have totaled 700 or more runs. I think the only other player is Sunil Gavaskar, where he scored like some 900 odd runs against West Indies in 1971. But to join such an elite person in a list of 2 is just outstanding. Yashasvi Jaiswal, 712 runs, player of the series, gets 10 on 10. So that the first player, and he gets a 10 on 10 straight out of the bat. Secondly, we have his opening partner and captain Rohit Sharma. 400 run series for him, 200s along the way as well. One in, I think he scored one in Rajkot, and was it in Rajkot, I guess, and he recently scored in Dharamshala as, he did score in Rajkot, didn't he? He scored 131 in Rajkot and 103 runs in Dharamshala. 400 runs for him in this series. I'll give him a 8.5 and 8.5 out of 10. 8 for his batting, and I'll just give him 0.5 extra for his captaincy in this series, so he can have an 8.5. Next up, we have Shubman Gill, who is also getting an 8 out of 10 from me. 452 runs, again 200s, 110 in Dharamshala, and once again he was outstanding towards the latter part of this series. Earlier in the first 2 test matches, or first 1.5 kind of test matches, he looked kind of iffy, and there were question marks surrounding his form as well. But since the Ranchi test match, he was just outstanding. He made sure that India chased down whatever was there in front of them on that iffy Ranchi pitch. And his performances in the second innings throughout this series has been outstanding. He scored 100 in Vishakhapatnam, and then he scored 110 in Dharamshala. So just like Rohit Sharma, he has also had 200s in this series, and that is why he is also getting an 8 out of 10. We then move to two players who have played just 3 test matches in this series, but boy, their contributions were immense. First of all, we'll talk about Sarfaraz Khan. Like I mentioned earlier in this podcast, he has taken test cricket like a duck to water, and it's so good to see a young and hungry talent come into the middle and just give fans a sense like he's already played 20 test matches for India. He looks so calm and composed. 250s in Rajkot and 150 in Dharamshala as well. 350 scores in this series. Shame that he could not convert them and get 100 in his very first test series, but I'm sure he's going to get hundreds really, really soon in his test career. 200 runs from 3 test matches as far as Sarfaraz Khan is concerned. I'm giving him a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, Dhruv Jurel replaced KS Bharat as India's wicketkeeper for the last 3 test matches, and he was brilliant. Brilliant with the bat, brilliant with the gloves as well, and his 90 runs in Ranchi in the first innings was probably the best I have seen an Indian wicketkeeper play following Rishabh Pant's freak injury. I think India have struggled to find a consistent wicketkeeper once Rishabh Pant got injured. I think, yes, now Rishabh Pant is almost back to full fitness, but Dhruv Jurel is an outstanding backup wicketkeeper should India need him as a backup once Rishabh Pant is fit. 190 runs as far as Dhruv Jurel is concerned from 3 test matches. As I said, his high score was 90 in the first innings in the 4th test match in Ranchi. So yes, Sarfaraz Khan got 7.5. I'm giving Dhruv Jurel an 8 despite him scoring 10 runs less than Sarfaraz. But that 0.5 extra mark is because of Dhruv Jurel's wonderful wicket keeping. Then we move on to the all-rounders. We start by talking about Ravindra Jadeja. 232 runs and 19 wickets in 4 matches. 112 was his highest score in Rajkot, in his home state kind of thing. He also hails from Saurashtra, where that test match was held. He scored 112 on that occasion, and in Ranchi he picked up his best figures in this series of 4 for 67. So he gets an easy 8 out of 10 for his contribution with the bat and with the ball. Next up, we move on to Ravichandran Ashwin. 116 runs. Not a lot as far as Ashwin is concerned, but he ended the series by being India's highest wicket taker. 26 wickets for Ashwin. He played all the 5 test matches. Yes, he missed a bit of the Rajkot test where he had to leave for family emergency, but he was quickly back in a day and a half, which was just professionalism at its finest. So I'm counting him as someone who has played all the 5 test matches, and he's getting a score of 9 out of 10 from my side because he's Ravichandran Ashwin. He picked up 9 wickets in Dharamshala, which was his 100th test match, 5 in the second innings, 4 in the first innings, and he ends the series with as India's highest wicket taker. So I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. I did contemplate about cutting 0.5 and giving him an 8.5 instead of 9 because his fielding hasn't been the best, and it is for some time now that Ravichandran Ashwin has struggled in the field. He's not able to run behind balls now, but you can understand that he's 37 years old. He's a spinner, so there is some question mark surrounding his fitness, but I don't think his non-contributions in the field is going to affect his chances of playing of maintaining his place in the playing 11 because he's just magnificent with the ball. But I'm not going to cut zero point 0.5 for just fielding. Yes, I did give 0.5 to Dhruv Jurel for his wicket keeping and 0.5 for for Rohit Sharma for his captaincy. But Ashwin, well, he deserves 9 out of 10 simply because of the professionalism and still being an outstanding spinner. Not to mention he surpassed 500 test wickets in this series as well. So now we talk about the bowlers, and there were 3 bowlers who played majority of the test matches, and those were Kuldeep Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj. Kuldeep Yadav getting 19 wickets from 4 test matches. As I said, his best test match was the final one in Dharamshala, where he picked up 7 wickets, but he did pick up 4 wickets in Ranchi in the second innings as well, scoring crucial runs along the way as well, 97 runs in total, which doesn't seem a lot, but he's always added valuable runs lower down the order, which has frustrated the English bowling throughout this series. 97 runs with the bat and 19 wickets with the ball from 4 matches. He gets an 8 out of 10 from my side as well. And then we come to India's main primary quick in the form of Jasprit Bumrah. Similar to Kuldeep Yadav, he himself also played 4 test matches and also picked up 19 wickets. But as far as Bumrah is concerned, his best test match in this series was the second test match in Visakhapatnam, where he picked up 9 wickets, which includes 6 in the first innings. That dismissal of Ollie Pope, that image of Ollie Pope not judging a Yorker from Jasprit Bumrah and having his leg stump and middle stump rooted out, is a sight that is not leaving Indian fans' memory anytime soon, and that is probably the picture of this series. If there's a award like that in existence, he has been outstanding. Jasprit Bumrah has always troubled the English batters, that is, with his reverse swing in earlier with the new ball and reverse swing when the ball gets a little older. Yes, he did struggle to pick up wickets in Dharamshala and in Rajkot as well, but outstanding bowling as far as Jasprit Bumrah is concerned. 19 wickets for him. He's getting a 9 out of 10 from my end because he single-handedly helped England to their first test defeat and India to their first test victory in Visakhapatnam. Mohammad Siraj is next. He also played 4 games, but he just picked up 6 wickets. Now, and 4 of them were in Rajkot in the first innings. So he's bowled for 8 innings and he's got 4 in just one of them, and in the remaining 7 he's picked up 2. But that is not the case because he had a 2-wicket haul somewhere in Ranchi or I think it was Ranchi, wasn't it? So he's gone wicketless for 6 of the 8 innings. That's why I cannot give him more than 6 out of 10. I think his spell in Rajkot was really good when he picked up 4 wickets, where he was really well, probably the best he's bowled in this series. But apart from that, it's just a 6 out of 10 as far as Mohammad Siraj is concerned. I think he didn't even bowl in the second innings in Hyderabad. So yeah, 6 out of 10. So those were the 10 players which have played a majority of this series. Now we come to the 8 bit part players as far as Team India are concerned, and we start by talking about Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel picked up 5 wickets and he scored 133 runs from just 2 matches that he played. So he gets, just 2 matches. So I don't think you can give him anything less than 6. I think 6 out of 10 for Akshar Patel works really well. His place was taken up by Kuldeep Yadav once he started to bowl really well. But I'm sure someone like Akshar Patel has the tendency to bounce back. And I'm sure he is going to stay in the Indian test setup for a really long time. KL Rahul is next. He played just 1 test match, and unfortunately for India did lose that test match, which was the opening one in Hyderabad. He scored 108 runs in that particular test match. I think he scored like 85 odd runs in the first innings. You cannot give him more than or less than 6 out of 10 for his troubles. Next up, Shreyas Iyer, just 2 test matches, but just 104 runs, was then probably dropped on the basis of injury, was then excluded from the central contract situation, for which I've made an entire episode, recorded an entire episode myself. Shreyas Iyer had been disappointing, and the way in which Sarfaraz Khan took up his place in the 11 shows that there was so much for Shreyas Iyer to offer, but unfortunately, was it him being dropped, or was it the case that he actually had an injury? You never know, but he's getting a 5 out of 10 from my side. KS Bharat, who kept wickets in the first 2 test matches, he did keep well in Hyderabad, but then his keeping kind of deteriorated and he was not really contributing a lot with the bat. He scored just 92 runs in 2 test matches, and he was quickly dropped and replaced by Dhruv Jurel, and Dhruv Jurel has since then done amazing with the bat and with the gloves. So KS Bharat, for his troubles, is only getting a 4 out of 10 from my side. Devdutt Padikkal is next, who played just 1 test match, scored 65 runs in the only time India came out to bat. Well, he looked really settled as far as test cricket is concerned. He has been in and around the Indian fraternity for quite some time now, but he's just played 2 T20Is before making his test debut. But it shows that there is so much pedigree in these young players who are not just big hitters in the IPL, and when called upon they can perform well in the test matches as well, like Devdutt Padikkal has shown. He scored 65 runs. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10 for his efforts. Rajat Patidar is next. He played 3 matches, scored just 63 runs. He's the lowest point scorer, lowest grade getter in this episode. He's just getting a 3 out of 10 from my side. Akashdeep played just 1 test match in Ranchi. Magnificent with the new ball in the first innings. Troubled English top order time and time again. Picked up 3 wickets along the way. And for his troubles, I am giving him a 5 out of 10. And last but certainly not the least, we have Mukesh Kumar, who picked up just 1 wicket in 2 test matches that he played. He's getting a 4 out of 10, or let's give him a 3 out of 10 as well. So that is it as far as the report card is concerned. Just to give you guys a quick recap on how things were, we have Yashasvi Jaiswal, who has gotten the full 10 out of 10, Rohit Sharma 8.5, Gill gets an 8, Ravindra Jadeja gets an 8 as well, Sarfaraz Khan 7.5, Dhruv Jurel 8, Ravichandran Ashwin 9, Kuldeep Yadav 8, Bumrah 9, Mohammad Siraj 6, Akshar Patel 6, KL Rahul 6, Shreyas Iyer 5, KS Bharat 4, Devdutt Padikkal 6, Rajat Patidar 3, Akashdeep 5, and Mukesh Kumar with a 3. So just to clarify, all of these ratings are out of 10, and this is how Team India performed in my personal opinion. I think overall they played really good cricket, particularly the 10 players who were in and around the team for majority of the series. As far as my personal player of the series is concerned, I think I have to agree with what the overall player of the series was in this series, and it had to go to someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal for the sheer plethora of runs that he scored in this series. And as far as bowling is concerned, I think if I had to pick one bowler as my player of the series, that would be Jasprit Bumrah, for constantly troubling the English players time and time again. Now let's quickly run down and talk about some of England's best performers in this series against India. I think their standout player in this series was none other than their opener Zach Crawley, who scored 407 runs in 5 test matches. He scored 50 plus runs in 4 innings. Unfortunately, did not manage to get into triple figures, but he was outstanding and was England's leading run scorer. Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope and Joe Root all scoring centuries for England. Ollie Pope 196 was probably one of the best innings that an overseas player has played in Indian conditions, which helped England win that first test match in Hyderabad. But since then, he completely flopped. Ben Duckett had a 153 runs in Rajkot, but apart from that, he barely contributed with the bat as well, and so did Joe Root when he scored that 120 odd in Ranchi. It was coming back to form kind of an innings as far as Joe Root is concerned, but apart from that, he would himself be pretty disappointed with the high standards that he sets for himself. Yes, he did get a half century in the second innings in Dharamshala, but it was a bit too little too late as far as England are concerned, and Joe Root would be really disappointed because he was one of England's primary run scorers in these conditions the last time they came to tour India, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case this time around. As far as English bowling is concerned, I think Tom Hartley and Shoaib Bashir would be the standout bowlers, both of them making their test debuts in this particular series, and they were just outstanding. Tom Hartley, 22 wickets. He was England's leading wicket taker in this series. He played all 5 test matches, picked up 7 wickets in the second innings in Hyderabad, which enabled England to win that test match. Bashir picked up 17 wickets from just 3 test matches. He picked back-to-back 5-wicket hauls in Ranchi and then in Dharamshala. And a special shout out to Jimmy Anderson for getting to that milestone, 700 wickets. Just imagine, just wow, 700 wickets by an out and out seam bowler is just out of this world. He has been the third highest wicket taker in test matches for quite some time now, but to reach that 700 figure is just mesmerizing. Like, making his debut all the way back in 2002-2003 and still playing cricket at the highest level. Credit to his fitness, credit to his ability to keep on improving time and time again, and also credit should go to the ECB to be able to protect their players in such a way that they are able to play cricket for such a prolonged period. We saw that with Stuart Broad, and now we are seeing it with James Anderson as well. 700 wickets. He picked up his 700th wicket by dismissing Kuldeep Yadav in the first innings, and he's just 8 wickets behind the legendary Shane Warne, 100 behind Muthaiya Muralidhar, and I'm sure he's not going to catch Murli anytime soon, but I'm pretty sure come summer in England, he is going to surpass the legendary Shane Warne, and he's going to end his career as probably the greatest fast bowler to grace our game. So yeah, that is about it for the India versus England Test series. I hope you enjoyed the India versus England Test series coverage on the Cricket Corner podcast. Yes, there were a few episodes here and there which weren't part of the series, and there were a few episodes I missed due to my health issues, but I've made sure that I cover a majority of this series, and I think I've done a good job in doing that. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast throughout this series, and now I think I deserve a few days worth of rest before we start talking about the Indian Premier League, which is going to start in just 12 days time at the time of recording this podcast. So a host of cricketing news and chatter to come on this platform, so make sure you stay tuned to the Cricket Corner podcast. You are liking, sharing and subscribing on YouTube. You are giving me the 5-star ratings if you think I deserve them on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But yeah, for the time being, this is me, Vatsal Vora, signing off from the India versus England Test series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But for the time being, this is me signing off. Ciao for now.